All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a truly transformative approach from Yaman Bashir's book, Stress Less in 5. Listen, if you feel like you're just constantly running on empty, you are definitely going to want to pay close attention to this one. We're going to explore a method that's designed specifically to conquer daily pressure using nothing but micro habits.
So, let me ask you something. Are you literally too stressed out to de-stress? It's a real question. If you're a busy professional who can't seem to find a single moment of quiet, a stretched caregiver who's completely forgotten what rest even feels like, or a working parent just coming home completely exhausted, you know exactly what the persistent weight of daily pressure feels like. But here's the catch highlighted in our source material. You probably don't have the time for a massive, hour-long daily lifestyle overhaul. It's like your resources, your time, your energy, your attention, are just consistently stretched way thinner than your demands.
You see, the author, drawing from a really rich background in public health, noticed this glaring gap. Traditional self-care programs, they demand way more time than overwhelmed people actually have. The reality is, the folks who needed practical help the absolute most simply couldn't attend weekly workshops or, carve out dedicated hours for meditation classes. They needed something much, much smaller, something that could literally fit right into the cracks of a demanding day.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today to help shift your perspective from exhaustion to ease. We'll quickly run through the modern stress trap, rethinking daily pressure, the overwhelm crisis, the micro-habit solution, and finally, calm in real life.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the modern stress trap.
Now, before we actually get to solving the problem, we really need to validate exactly why you feel so exhausted and why that standard advice you always hear just isn't working for you. Keep in mind up front, this framework is a non-clinical behavioral science approach meant for ordinary daily pressure. It's strictly for general self-enrichment, right? So it's not a substitute for clinical or psychological care. If you are dealing with clinical concerns, definitely seek out professional help. But for the ordinary, everyday human experience of daily pressure, you're in exactly the right place.
Moving right along to Section 2, rethinking daily pressure.
To truly get a handle on our stress, we first need to strip away all that confusing clinical jargon and redefine what pressure actually means in our day-to-day lives. Let's start with eustress, because guess what? Not all stress is bad. Eustress is that healthy tension you feel right before a big presentation when you know you're well prepared, or that buzzing energy at the starting line of a race you've been training for. Sure, your heart beats faster, and yes, your attention gets super sharp, but the feeling itself is actually challenging, manageable, and energizing, rather than crushing you with overwhelm.
But then there's distress, and that is a completely different animal. This happens when the pressure suddenly exceeds your perceived ability to cope with it. It's when those demands just pile up way faster than you could ever possibly address them. Your heart still beats faster, sure, but instead of sharpening, your attention completely scatters. Basically, the gap between what's required of you and what you actually feel able to give just becomes way too wide.
Which leads us nicely into Section 3, the overwhelm crisis. This right here is absolutely crucial. We need to clearly understand the massive difference between a healthy workplace challenge that pushes you to grow and what the author calls structural overwhelm. Think about it. A healthy challenge has a very clear finish line. You've got adequate resources to get the job done, you have a sense of agency, and honestly, the most important part, you have recovery time. You can actually rest afterward. Structural overwhelm, however, is when you have totally unclear or constantly moving endpoints. You never really have quite enough time or help, you have super low control over how to proceed, and worst of all, the demands literally follow you home. You get absolutely zero true recovery time.
So here is the big takeaway, and I want you to really hear this. You are not lazy. You don't just lack coping skills. The author observed nurses working brutal 12-hour shifts who still had to go home and care for children, and software engineers who were compulsively checking their emails between sips of dinner. You are simply trapped by the design of modern life, which structurally includes way too many responsibilities and far too few breaks. When this kind of overwhelm becomes chronic, we sort of just accept it as normal. We completely forget what fine actually feels like.
Let's look at Section 4, the micro-habit solution. Knowing all of this, how in the world do we fix it without adding yet another massive time-consuming task to our already overflowing plates? Well, the answer is the Calm in 5 method. This whole approach is built entirely on micro-habits that take exactly 5 minutes or less. Instead of demanding these huge hour-long time blocks that you obviously don't have, these tiny practices are meant to be anchored to routines you already do every single day and then just repeated consistently over time. It's really all about intercepting that pressure before it even has the chance to accumulate.
To get the absolute most out of this framework, try something with me right now.
Just take a deep breath as we walk through these steps. Small actions are what lock in learning. You're going to want to try these practices immediately, like as soon as you learn them, rather than waiting for some perfect moment. Commit to the 7-day protocol so you can turn these concepts into real experience. And, crucially, be kind to yourself. Missing days? Completely normal. Forgetting? Also normal. The only actual failure here is stopping entirely, so just keep returning to the practice.
And finally, Section 5, Calm in Real Life.
So how exactly can you implement this method starting today? Well, the book strongly recommends grabbing a simple physical notebook. Just a basic spiral or composition book that's for your eyes only, so you can track your habits away from digital screens. But honestly, the beautiful truth here is that you already possess the most important tools you will ever need. You have a body that breathes. You have senses that perceive. You have a mind that can pay attention. The rest of the work is just simple repetition.
The real secret here is that sustainable change doesn't come from some massive, dramatic, and exhausting lifestyle overhaul that just leaves you more burned out than when you started. It comes from small, consistent adjustments. Like the author says, you do not need to transform your life overnight. You just need to start. Take one breath, make one observation, set one small intention. That is enough.
I'm going to leave you with this really powerful final thought today, pulled straight from the dedication of the source text. It's just a wonderful question to sort of chew on as you navigate your own demanding world. What if peace isn't a destination you reach, but a practice you return to, one breath at a time? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Try anchoring just one micro habit today, give yourself a little grace, and just see how it shifts your momentum.